So, good morning, everyone. I just made a whole video about making amends on my professional licensed mental health clinician Instagram account. And it's actually it's a personal subject for me, obviously, is why I talked about it. So, what I explained in that video is I have been toxic in all of my toxic relationships. It hasn't just been the person I was in a relationship with. I was also extremely toxic. And I've been toxic since my first my first boyfriend, who actually wasn't very toxic, really. That was all me. Uh, and it wasn't a good thing. I shouldn't have treated this person like this, but also the worst part about it is when it all ended, I expected this person to forgive me, which is totally immature because forgiveness is a personal choice. And quite frankly, I am a big believer of you don't have to forgive your abuser no matter what. You know, you don't. So I've learned that in the decades of living and relationships that I've been in that no, I don't expect to be forgiven. Um, I don't exactly forgive my abusers. Uh, if anything, I don't hate them anymore, if that's progress, but I don't really, I don't forgive the actions, and that's okay. But I also am a big believer of making amends and holding myself accountable, and I've been thinking a lot about doing that. I've been thinking a lot about holding myself accountable to my ex-husband because of my toxic parts, the parts that I did, the abuse that came from me. I don't expect forgiveness at all. I don't care if he forgives me or not. I'm going to be honest and say I'm making amends for myself because I've been carrying that shame for over 5 years, and I really just want to end that. Because as I'm doing my own shadow work and going to my trauma therapy, I'm realizing that I will never be able to let go of the shame and the shitty aspects of myself without forgiving myself first and accepting that shadow part of myself. You know, I can't let that go without actually forgiving and accepting that part of myself, but also holding myself accountable for the actions, the toxic actions that I did because of my toxic traits. You know, your shadow self is not a bad part of yourself. I often feel that my shadow self is my inner little girl and my inner teenager. And a lot of that toxicity comes from the anger of my inner teenager. Doesn't excuse the behavior, it never will. It means that it was my responsibility to get the work done, to process that trauma. But really I never did. Even when I saw my therapist when I was living in South Richmond Hill, I don't think I really ever processed or did work on the trauma. And now that I'm working on my trauma and have been for over 2 years, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of accountability, but also a lot of progress too. You know, I'm recognizing that I do deserve to be happy, that I am not a bad person, that my actions were total shit and I have to hold myself accountable for it, but that I am not a bad person. Reason being, I want to change. I want to not have these toxic traits. I want to be mindful. And it hasn't been easy. I've been very lucky to have someone in my life. My husband's amazing. He really has been nothing but supportive in these last few months. And I didn't make it easy for him because with all the financial issues we were having, because I was waiting to start my new job and due to credentialing, it took a while. Okay. Every time that the subject of finances would come up because my husband needed to vent, I would take it personally. And it wasn't even about me. It was about the fact that he just needed to vent to his wife about the fact that he's worried. And you know what? That's valid. And I held myself accountable for that yesterday. And I told him, quite frankly, he doesn't have to forgive me for that. But I'm going to do better for myself and for our marriage. And he knows that. That's the thing. We have these conversations because I'm not used to having conversations without yelling or anger coming from me, not the other person, from me. Sometimes the other person, but mostly me. And having a discussion is very different. It's healthy, it's mindful, and we can be honest with each other without walking on eggshells. And it's nice. And it's something I've never really had before because I would take things so personally, or because my partner at the time would not take things seriously and thought that I was overreacting. So it's a lot, to get used to. And even though I've been with Andy going on 6 years on August 25th, by the way, I will say that being in a healthy marriage like this has taught me a lot about myself, as well as a lot about what unconditional love actually means and what love actually means. And it's nice. I can't complain, but I need to work on myself for myself. So I'm going to talk to my therapist on Friday about the fact that I want to make amends with my ex through email. I will send a strict boundary. I put a strict boundary up that does not mean that I want any kind of relationship with him at all. I just want to make my amends. I do not expect him to forgive me. But I also have my other concerns, which is this can trigger him, and I don't want to do that and hurt him more. So I'm going to talk to my therapist about it. And I'm interested in knowing your thoughts about it.